There you are. Welcome to Zen Fits here in Blackstone, Virginia, the center of the world. Well, I'm back. My talks just kick. It's like I want to give birth to something. So here I am. And the title of today's talk is the double cut of guilt. The double cut of guilt. Now, a double cut is a sword with two edges. And if it cuts this way, you feel guilty. But if it cuts the opposite way, you feel guilty. It's a double cut. It's called lose-lose, or damned if you do and damned if you don't. We hear this a lot. Winston Churchill said history is just one damn thing after another. So this it's a very common idea. We throw it around, but we really don't understand its depth, its profound meaning in our lives, in our personal lives, you see. So what is this double cut? Well, we can see it everywhere around if we have a formula or another way to understand it. The double cut of guilt is that, the reason I wrote this, or came up with this, was because I'm thinking about, guess what, Trump, or a cult, or widening the meaning of cult, a brand, a team, a nation, a people, anything that you belong to and surrender your choice to, so that my country, right or wrong, is I'll do whatever my country chooses. If my country chooses to go to Vietnam, I'll do it. If my country chooses to build a wall and keep out whatever my country chooses to do, it's right. So my country is above the law. So a brand like a vacuum cleaner has many brands, but the Brits name all vacuum cleaners Hoovers. They say, go get a Hoover. It means everything. So there's no choice. There's no being branded by Hoovers where you will only use Hoover vacuum cleaners and you won't use Dyson, you see. Everything's a Hoover. Or Kleenex. You can't, everything. You say, go get a box of Kleenex. Well, you can get any brand you want, and it's a Kleenex, right? So that's kind of like a little example of the way you get around having to choose a brand. You just name them all that. Anyway, be careful so we don't digress here. Stay focused. What is the double cut? Well, it could be a marriage. It could be let's put it this way. There are two, in this teaching, and this is what my teaching here, my understanding, is what I got from my work or study of Albert Lowe, a Zen master on Montreal Zen Center. But this has been the product of my whole life's journey, is understanding how my mind works. And if I understand how my consciousness works, I can understand all consciousness because it's all one. So anyway, keep me focused here. A cult is a general terms for a solution to a dilemma. Now, what is the dilemma? What is the universal dilemma of human consciousness, of us? What is the fundamental dilemma? Well, there are two imperatives called categorical imperatives. They must be obeyed, or two commandments that must be obeyed, but they are contradictory. So you can't do them both at the same time, but you must. You can't do them both at the same time, but you must. So what do? Well, we create a strategy where we can have our cake and eat it too. Now, what is the double bind? Well, you see it everywhere. I must be autonomous. I must be free. I must have free choice. That is the mantra of America. I must have choice, and you have to be free choice, and I must be autonomous. I must be a separate, autonomous, unique human being. I can't be a clone. I can't blend into the masses. I can't have no face. I must have a character. I must be unique. I must be a unique personality. This is the driving imperative of American society. But at the same time, there is an opposite commandment. I must have security. If you're going to climb Mount Everest, and there's a lot on the news now because there's climbers up there, you got to have a base camp. So you climb the mountain by moving your base camp up. You can't climb Mount Everest without a base camp. You can't go camping without a campsite. If you go camping and you walk in the woods, you say, well, okay, it's time to go home. Well, where are you going home? Back to Blackstone? No, you're going to your campsite. The campsite is your base camp. The campsite is your security. When you're on the journey, well, should I go this way or that? Or a bear may eat you or whatever, but the campsite, the home is security. So we must have home, security. We must belong. Home is belonging. Oh, I'm home. I belong here. Now, home can be my people. Oh, I finally found people like me. I get on a group on Facebook. Oh, I feel at home here. These are my people. Now I'm at war with these other groups. Oh, they're not like my people. They're against my people. So now I'm in a situation where I get to be at home in my group, but I can attack other groups. So I can be a rebel. I can be free. I'm free. I can have freedom and security by belonging to a group or a cult or a brand or a nation or a society or a race or a religion, you see. So I belong to a people, and those people, and when those people are rebelling against some larger parent or order or in other words, I rebel and I'm free through my group. So this is freedom through belonging to a people. Not freedom alone, but freedom that belongs. You see, now I get to eat my cake, have security, I belong, I have meaning, I have a cause, but at the same time, I can be free. I can rebel. I'm free because I rebel. I'm free because I say, no, I'm not going to do that. No, my people are not going to do that. Set my people free. No, 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 you see, is rebellion. It starts at 2. The terrible 2s. No, I'm not going to eat that. No. Even if it's good for the 2-year-old. No, I won't eat it. You know, so this need to rebel and say no, and the need to say, yes, I belong, are contradictory. So we create a cult or a belonging or a people where we can have both at the same time. But there's a trap. There's a trap, and it's the double cut of guilt that traps us. Because once I belong to a people, I feel guilty if I leave. I feel guilty if I doubt my people. Yet at the same time, I may not like what my people are doing. So I think it's not rational. It goes against my conscience, you see. So I want to say no to my people, but I can't. I can't say no to one hand and say yes to the other because both hands belong to one body. You see, this is the trap. So I feel guilty if I leave. I feel guilty if I stay. No matter what I do, I feel guilty. I can't tolerate that. Nobody can tolerate that. We do, but it usually ends up in suicide or a mass shooting or addiction. I'll just drink myself to death, you see. In other words, we can't sustain the double cut without finding some way to escape, either through death, total destruction, take everybody with me, or oblivion through addiction and drugs. Or just sitting home and eating, drinking beer and watching TV. You see the double cut here. The double cut is that no matter what you do, you're going to be cut. You can't choose. So what happens when you can't choose, when your choices are canceled by the opposites? What do? Well, you stay where you are. You don't leave. In other words, you just surrender choice altogether. And your individual autonomy is now totally merged with the people, with your group, you see. The two imperatives have canceled themselves out, and now you stay with your cult all the way to destruction. Like the Germans who stayed with Hitler all the way, even when the Russians were bombing, were in Berlin, they hung on to the last breath, you see. Or the Japanese would rather surrender, would rather jump off a cliff or blow themselves up than surrender, you see. So that, in other words, it's not death, you see, it becomes the death wish. When you cannot choose to stay or leave. There's no choice. There's no choice. When choice is canceled by the double cut, you are essentially walking dead. You can't get out. You cannot exercise your will. And so we're looking at Trumpism today. And the question that comes up all the time on the left is, why do these people stay with the Titanic after it's hit the iceberg? The USS Trump has hit an iceberg. It's sinking. And people will stay on it, playing the music as it goes down, celebrating, getting even more fanatical as the Trump hits again, the Trump Titanic begins to sink. Why is that, you see? Well, there's no choice. They've given up choice. Choice is not possible. Because if you activate choice, well, maybe I should leave, you activate the double cult of guilt. If I suddenly wake up, geez, I should get off this ship, but then maybe I should stay, or I should get off. I should stay, I should get off. Wow. I'm lost, I'm sucked into the oblivion, you see, of the double cut. So I don't even arouse choice. I don't even arouse it. I stay on the ship. I go down with the ship. That is better. Going down with the ship is better than the wow of the double cut. And remember, the double cut is self-cutting. You know, people get caught up in self-cutting. So whenever they get stressed, they cut. You know, it centers them. It gives them relief. The pain gives them refuge from the pain of the mental double cut. Should I do this or that? Wow, 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 wow. If I do this, I'm wrong. If I do that, I'm wrong. If I do this, I'm fucked. If I do that, I'm fucked. Wow, 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 wow. Oblivion. It's worse than death. Worse than death, you see. So we'd rather die than go to oblivion. This is why people commit suicide. Suicide is better than the wow, 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 wow of the mind sucked into the vortex of the double cut of guilt. Anyway, this is something you should look at in your own life, in your own situations. You can find them. They're everywhere. A situation where you can't choose. Whatever you choose is no good. What do you do then? What do you do? Thanks for dropping in.